Russia launched a cyber assault on Finland's GPS signal at the end of October. That's according to a November 11th statement by Finland's Prime Minister, Juha Sipilä. And this attack apparently caused widespread GPS outages across the north of Finland. And Sipilä was careful to say that Russia could have been the perpetrator, rather than asserting it as a proven fact. But I think that if you look at the details of this assault, and some of the recent events leading up to it, it's beyond debate that Russia was the perpetrator. First, if we go back to 2016, at that time Russian President Vladimir Putin issued a warning to Finland saying that if they joined NATO, then Russia would take action. NATO is the military alliance of more than 24 European and North American countries, and Finland is not a member. Officially, Finland is militarily neutral, but ever since 2014, when Russia annexed Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula, the Finns have been increasingly interested in the possibility of joining NATO, and they've been increasingly cooperating with NATO across a wide range of fronts. So Putin issued that 2016 warning, but then in May of this year, Finland signed an agreement with NATO that stipulates Finland's full participation in NATO military drills, and it also granted Finland full access to NATO's command and control and NATO weapon systems. And in return for that, NATO was given access to Finland's territorial waters and its airspace. Finland, of course, lies just to the west of Russia. They actually share more than 800 miles of border there, so that was deeply unsettling for the Russians. And then 2 months later, Russia issued a severe warning to Finland, saying that if the Finns continued to cozy up to NATO, then Russia would be forced to take countermeasures. So that brings us up to last month, when NATO participated in large military drills with NATO. These drills were called Trident Juncture. These were actually NATO's largest war games in decades, and it's now been disclosed that during a portion of those drills, Finland's GPS signal was intentionally disrupted, almost certainly by Russia. And we don't yet know all the details of how prolonged this attack was, or exactly how it was orchestrated, but it looks to have been a significant event. And this Russian attack on Finland is far from an isolated incident. In recent years, both Russia and China have increasingly been targeting the computer networks and other technologies of Western nations, and that's because in very many cases, those computer-based technologies are very vulnerable. This vulnerability is something that's been on the radar of Trump editor-in-chief Gerald Flurry for more than 20 years now. He first wrote about this back in 1995, talking about the dangers of America, and specifically America's military, being dependent on technologies that are vulnerable to enemy sabotage. In an article at that time, Mr. Flurry quoted analyst Joseph DeCourcy, saying that this dependence was the Western world's Achilles heel. And then Mr. Flurry wrote, quote, "America is the greatest superpower this world has ever known. But we have a very vulnerable point in our military, our own Achilles heel. It is so dangerous that I'm amazed it hasn't received more publicity." Mr. Flurry said that studying into the Western world's cyber vulnerabilities reminded him of a Bible prophecy recorded in Ezekiel 7:14. This passage is mostly about the modern United States and Britain, and it says, quote, "They have blown the trumpet even to make all ready, but none goes to the battle." So this is an alarming prophecy. It's about a future time when America's military technologies will have been hijacked by enemies. And Mr. Flurry wrote this about it. "It seems everybody is expecting our people to go into battle, but the greatest tragedy imaginable occurs. Nobody goes to battle. Even though the trumpet is blown, will it be because of a computer terrorist?" So the news from this week about Russia's cyber attack on Finland really shows just how vulnerable many computer systems are. And it shows that whether it's for Finland or for the United States or for any nation dependent on those kinds of technologies, that Achilles heel could be pierced. To understand more about this Bible prophecy and to know where the rising global tensions are leading, please order a free copy of Mr. Fleury's book, Ezekiel, the End Time Prophet.